Hello everybody, this is Kirosho here. Now, whenever we last left off, Deku had somewhat had a conversation with Todoroki and Katsuki. After both of these two basically snuck into his, room at Never's agency. And Deku, he's a bit more concerned or confused. He's been having, he's starting to have feelings for these two. He's already had some, but now it's a bit weird. He's not sure what to do. He almost kissed Todoroki, so that's kind of bad. Oh, is it? As he's trying to reassure himself that if it happens, then, it might just happen. He might have to try to explain it to the other one, but even then, this is a bit weird. Now, with that, Deku would finally arrive at UA. As he would run into these two, along with Principal Nezu at the gate, explaining to Midori that the cops are here and they have a couple questions. Deku completely forgot about this. Endeavor tried to set up the meeting with the cops at his agency, but, they sort of already had it set up with UA. And the police were busy with Stain at the time, so we can't really blame them. Him just, coming with Nezu. Nezu basically escorting the police to his office along with Midoriya. People are somewhat looking at this, along with Monoma probably making a remark that so the guy with two chicks is in trouble with the police. Figures. Class 1A really must be, just made up of, as he just keeps going on and on and on. Eventually, someone getting a baseball bat. Now, with that, Deku would be in the office and talking with the police. Them basically going over the incidents and reports, along with a suspected picture of their villain. Deku somewhat seeing it. This is the villain they're talking about. They only have this one picture, and it may not be the best of quality, but his quirk does at least illuminate most of his face. Clearly, boy, you are not him. Now, as the police would go over, stating that even then the scars that the man seems to have do not coincide with your own. The scar on your left arm, upwards to the side of your face, does match, most of the way, although it only covers that side of your neck. So, I believe that should be all for now. The officer is somewhat just asking Deku to, let him take a picture. Deku just allowing it, as he is told to basically show most of his scar, meaning that he would have to take off his shirt for this. The officer is getting a clear picture of it, and at least having it as somewhat of evidence that this boy is not their villain, as he would be heading back to class. He would arrive. It has been a crazy couple of days. And, as I was not in the class, he is a bit confused. Is he under the desk, or who cares? Deku just walking over and sitting down. As he can look to his left, Todoroki's mumbling. And in front of him, Katsuki, she seems to be a bit, scared. Or, at least confused. These two aren't really focusing on him. That's a relief for one day. As one thing would happen. All Might burst into the room, stating that today they are going to be doing their final exams. Deku thinking that, okay, that should be fine. Wait. As he looks around, everyone's a bit scared, which is whenever All Might would begin to explain that this will be their final exams. You will be fighting a teacher versus, two of you will be fighting a teacher. Deku's eyes somewhat widening, realizing exactly what that means. Oh shit. as he somewhat just pulls a book out of his bag and brings it up to his desk, setting it down so that people cannot hear him whisper to himself. As he just starts saying, "No, no, are you guys there? Please, I'm gonna need to ask a favor." To which Deku would get a bit of a response. What are you, what do you need? I'm gonna need a bit more power. You're serious. We told you that we're limiting you to. I know, but just please. As All Might walks over to Midoriya, pulling out the book saying that the boy can't really hide from this. There's nothing to be nervous about. You will be on a team, of course, but most likely, you would be lucky if you aren't paired up with me. I do, however, and all the teachers will be wearing these specialized weights. All Might holding up a pair, saying that they are the best for right now, as everyone goes to get changed. Deku, he's in the locker room getting changed into his hero outfit as he just keeps mumbling under his breath. People somewhat noticing this. Someone asking Deku one question. Hey, are you good, dude? Yeah, I'll be fine. I've just had a lot on my plate. Well, yeah, dealing with a stain attack and everything, I'm not surprised. But seriously, dude, you and Todoroki made front page. Yeah, that's still cool and all, but it's just that, yeah, but I do have another question. To which Kirishima would say, Um, you've been with those girls for quite some time, right? Exactly what's going on? Deku's somewhat just holding onto his locker, somewhat crushing a piece of the metal, saying that it's a bit complicated. Kirishima's somewhat backing away. Geez, this guy's a bit nervous. Never seen this guy nervous except for as Kirishima remembers the USJ, thinking that Deku might have this in the bag. He's nervous because he thinks he might actually beat All Might. Is that right? Deku getting changed into his hero suit, and with a mask on, he can at least whisper a lot better and talk a lot more often, continuing to argue with the vessels of One for All. As they head out, All Might begins to do the drawings. For the teams, it's going to be Deku and Todoroki versus All Might. To which Katsuki, she's a bit annoyed. I thought I would face off against him. Oh well. Deku, he's a bit more, well, relieved. If he's with Todoroki, then that means they can at least try doing a special move they thought of. Usually, or well, it's kind of the same as the one him and Katsuki do. So it should work a bit better. Now, these two would get ready. Todoroki somewhat staring at Deku for a second, asking if he's still thinking about it. To which he'd say a bit. Everyone's a bit confused hearing this on comms, thinking exactly what are they talking about. Deku just saying that he's sorry he had to explain it, though. He didn't want her to find out like this. A lot of people being confused, looking directly at Katsuki. To which he just somewhat stares back at all of them. Yeah, I think you guys know where that joke is going. Anyways. Now, this is whenever they would begin. All Might would throw a smash, and well, Deku, he would try countering with 25%. At least somewhat creating a area of wind around them. Basically a funnel, so that the area around them gets moved away. All Might's blast barely getting in front of them. Deku's saying that that was good, but he needs a bit more power. Come on. Please. The users of One for All not budging, as Deku gets a bit more annoyed. All Might rushing in. Deku would barely see him. He knows All Might's behind him because of the way he felt the wing somewhat shift, or will his fire move, as he lets it loose, setting it up at max for about 2 seconds. All Might somewhat jumping away, as Deku turns around and begins to throw a Black Whip directly at All Might. He would have wrapped up one of All Might's arms, All Might grabbing and pulling Deku forward. Deku being flung towards All Might, as All Might would simply just backhand it with the hand he grabbed Black Whip with. Todoroki being to throw fire and ice at All Might. All Might would just start punching through her ice, as if it's nothing. He would have punched through it with about 50%, as it somewhat sends her flying. Deku would have gotten back up, and at 25% of one for all, he would run forward, immediately running in and smashing into All Might, somewhat trying to pick him up or at least lift him, which he would successfully do. He would go to throw All Might, but All Might would have done one thing that Deku didn't really think about. All Might would have grabbed Midoriya and began to start lifting upwards, All Might being able to get back on his feet and immediately toss Deku. All Might didn't really think about that as he would turn to face against Todoroki. He would bring his hand out to throw another punch, as his hand doesn't move forwards. In fact, it somewhat jerks backwards, as he looks at his arm. Black Whip. Okay. Now, Deku would have done a move that he somewhat thought about. In fact, he did it during the sports festival, channeling his fire through Black Whip. Immediately doing so, All Might feeling the burn of this, power. Deku being able to actually try and yank on All Might, at least stopping his arm, Todoroki blasting ice at him. All Might bringing his other hand up and smashing through it, as Deku begins to say that he needs more power. Please. You know my body can handle it. So, let me turn it up. As the users budge a bit, giving Deku access to 30%. Deku immediately rushing forward. Everyone noticing that he's gotten a bit faster. So it's getting more serious. As Deku runs in, and immediately grabs All Might, trying to burn him, as he turns on his fire to the blue setting, and begins to let it loose. All Might watching this, along with feeling the intense heat. Todoroki doing one thing at this point. So he brings up her right side and sends out as much ice as possible. Sends out enough of a blast to basically rival her sports festival one, the one she covered Sero with. As Deku's heat and her ice collide. All Might in the direct center. All Might being hit with special move 00. Now, with that, All Might, he would be a bit battle damaged, along with part of his suit being torn. Deku being flung away, along with Todoroki using her ice to try and at least shield herself from the blast. That was crazy, but it at least works. As people would see All Might. All Might's a bit battle damaged, and his face is actually bleeding a bit. Deku getting back up, saying that that's not going to work. Listen, you trusted me with your power. You've trusted me with your quirk. So, I want you to at least give that same trust to me. I'm not going to kill myself with this. I will be the successor. I won't let this quirk die. Do you understand me? If I have the power to, then I will change anything. I won't stop there. Just trust me. Deku, he would look up, his eyes somewhat coursing with blood, along with his nose, and his face. People staring at that. His mask is gone. Deku begins to charge up. All Might watching Deku get a bit more, serious. Deku charges up to 40 to 45%, as he would immediately bring his hands to the ground and rush in. Deku using Black Whip to pick up a bit of rocks and things on the ground. All Might gets ready, Deku creating a form of cones along his hands. They look like claws, but they'll do. Deku immediately just throwing them forwards, launching rocks at All Might. All Might bringing his hands up to block. Basically, Deku shooting bullets at him, as he runs forward and immediately uses Black Whip. He brings it up and actually wraps it around All Might's legs and his arms, as Deku comes forward, smashing All Might across the face, creating a shockwave behind them. People being in shock. Todoroki would run forward and begin to grab onto All Might's back, as she begins to use her ice and her fire at the same time, somewhat covering and coating All Might. Deku just beating All Might across the face, as All Might smashes his head forward and into Deku. Deku getting sent flying through a couple buildings, along with All Might actually being dragged along with him. Deku still had Black Whip. Even then, the Force would have been able to at least snap one of them. All Might would get back up as he begins to try and pull these things off of him. Deku begins to tighten them more, along with actually get a bit serious, as he begins to move his arm around and actually people see the struggle. Deku brings his other hand up and begins to start swinging All Might around, as if he were on a ball and chain. Now, this is whenever Deku would just send All Might flying. All Might getting sent flying toward the top of a building. All Might actually bringing his hands behind him and flicking his fingers, able to actually send himself forward towards Deku. People being in shock. Is he getting more serious? As Deku would have leaped up into the air, meeting All Might halfway, being able to sock him across the face. All Might actually being a bit more exhausted, but his successor is doing a lot better. This is good. As Deku does one thing. Whenever he smashes back into the ground, Todoroki will run over to him to see if he's okay, asking if he can continue to use his fire. Deku just looks up at her, saying that he can, but he needs more power. Are you hearing me in there? I need more. Deku actually feeling his body get a bit more, intense, as Deku's able to turn himself up more. 55%. The Vessels of One for All are saying that this is his maximum right now. This is your absolute limit. If you ask for any more power from us, you are being cut off. You are going back down to 20. No question. Do you understand? Yes. But I think I'll just need this. Deku looking up. All Might watching One for All charge up in his eyes along with a fire. Deku turns on this mode for 1 second. Todoroki actually watching, as Deku's body looks a bit more like his hand right here. Orange. So, as Deku stands up, his hair coursing and turning into this orange fire. Deku just saying that he's getting more serious, All Might. Interesting. You're going back to that. Are you sure it's... Yes. Deku running forward and actually blitzing All Might for 1 second. All Might not expecting Deku to be that fast. Deku is directly in front of All Might, as he sends an uppercut in All Might's jaw. All Might trying to counter with his left hand, as Deku turns up his heat for 3 seconds, burning All Might's hand. All Might throwing it backwards out of reaction. Deku using Black Whip to wrap him up and actually try and subdue him for a second, grabbing onto his wrist with the weights and pulling them down. All Might actually moving forward as Todoroki runs in. She runs up and actually blasts All Might and coats him in ice. Deku throwing his hands upwards with fire, along with Black Whip. The force of this is getting intense, as Deku gets sent flying along with Todoroki. The two getting back up. Todoroki, she's actually a bit hurt. Her body is beginning to somewhat freeze, and the other side is beginning to actually heat up a bit more than she's ever thought. So she at least needs to make this count. Looking at Midoriya. She just asks him if he's ready for this. Deku just somewhat saying, yes he is. So, you ready? Oh yeah. Deku is sending all his hands into the ground and actually using Black Whip. People watching his arms completely coated in this thing, as he sends his hands upward as high as possible, sending a large wave of fire at All Might. All Might just looking up at this, getting a bit in shock. This thing is bigger than the skyscraper. Exactly what is going on? As he turns around to see Todoroki, she's actually charging up her ice as she throws a large wave forwards. All Might being sandwiched between these two, and a large explosion going off. As Deku, he's trying to somewhat stay standing. Todoroki gets sent flying, however, as Deku's looking around for her. He's fairly certain that All Might should be, well, exhausted after that battle. His time limit is possibly up. As Deku turns off this mode and drops to his knees. He has just pushed his body to a point he has just discovered. Yes. Deku bringing his hands up as he runs them over his hair, thinking that at least worked. Now, they need to go. Deku looking around for Todoroki. He doesn't know if All Might is still at least conscious, or he should be fine. Right. Anyways, Deku looking around. People can see him running around actually flying through the air with his fire. Deku eventually finding Todoroki. Most of her body seems to be covered in ice, or at least coated in it. Deku picking her up and asking her if she's okay. She is just shivering. She'll be fine. It's just really warm. That's not warm, Todoroki. You're going into hypothermia. Deku is somewhat just holding her close to him as he turns on his fire. People somewhat watching this and commenting on it. Deku basically carrying her out of the match, limping. He didn't get away with a little bit of damage. Whenever he goes to see Recover Girl, she would have told him that he was actually a bit less reckless than she thought. She'll heal him this one time, only because it seems that you've learned your lesson, young man. Now, Deku, he would be a bit happy. Apparently, he only broke 3 of his ribs and only 2 of his fingers, along with at least cracking or at least hurting only 1 of his arms. Along with his fire not doing a lot of damage, it only did around 1st to 72nd degree burns. Todoroki, she's told that she got a bit of freezer burns, along with fire burns. So she needs to at least work on balancing these a bit more. It can be a serious health issue in the future. Now, with that, Deku would go back to everyone, them all being a bit more happy for him, as eventually All Might would get back up. He is standing in the center of the city. People watching as All Might brings his hands up and pulls off these gauntlets. But before he even tries to run his hand over, they basically slide through like butter. Deku and Todoroki, their force was enough to melt these things, or at least make them very brittle. All Might, most of his body is exposed, or well, at least most of his torso, but he's at least able to cover around the area his injury is. People somewhat just saying that guy, he is very durable, isn't he? Well, considering that we basically just destroyed a city block, or at least possibly even most of the city, I'd say so too. As Katsuki walks up to Deku, she looks a bit annoyed. As she does one thing, Deku is a bit shocked by, planting a kiss on his lips. To which he would have backed up for a second, saying, "Whoa, hang on." As Katsuki would turn to Todoroki, saying for her to beat that. as she walks off to her match. Todoroki looks a bit annoyed, as she suddenly just turns to Deku, and, well, holds out her lips for a kiss. To which Deku's, yeah, a bit concerned by. Now, that's going to be where I leave this part off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. And I have a question. Do you guys like the take I'm bringing on One For All for this series? That One For All, basically, if your quirk's too dangerous, it will limit your power. Because it doesn't want you to, well, the successors don't want you to kill yourself with your own quirk being evolved. So I actually did have a serious question about that, because I don't think I've seen that before. If anyone's seen that before, I would like to watch a series about that. Okay, anyways. My inner Deku is coming out. Now, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day.